Timberwolves are done.
Not looking good.
They got clobbered last night, but I can't imagine they'll win tomorrow.
They played tonight.
Tomorrow, here.
It is
They got beat by
11
15
o'clock
last night.
on May 15th. We'll call to order the City of Brainerd Personnel and Finance Committee meeting, and we'll start with introductions.
Kara Terry, Ward 1.
Alderman at Large, Kevin Stunek.
Connie Hillman, City Finance Director.
Jesse Dean, City Engineer.
James Kronvik, Community Development Director.
Brittany Bozer, HR Assistant.
Nick Broyle, City Administrator.
I'm Gabe Johnson, Chair of the committee. We have 6 items before us today, the first of which is to approve a revised IUOE Local Number 31 Administrative Support Union Job Description. Brittany?
Yep. Okay, job descriptions for the IBEW admin support have been updated. Both redlined and final have been attached to this agenda request. After our classification and compensation study, we were asked that we update all job descriptions since most of them haven't been since 2018. You will notice that those that are vacant, such as assistant planner, were not updated at this time, but all that are filled are attached. So motion to approve the updated attached job descriptions as presented.
So move.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Have the updated descriptions or proposed updated descriptions been provided to the employees?
Yes, so first they went to department heads for their review to be redlined, and then they were sent to staff so that they could look at them as well, and then HR did the final review.
Okay, and then after, if they're approved, after they're approved by the council, will you be providing a
All-
copy to all of the employees?
Yes,
Okay.
they will be also uploaded onto SharePoint as well.
Okay, well, SharePoint doesn't
Yep.
work for some people, so if you hand them a paper copy, that'd be great, because I've heard complaints in the past that people aren't provided their job description, so let's just make it a practice to do that.
Yep.
Okay, any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That motion carries. Next up is to approve the promotion of Stephanie Bestel to zoning specialist permit tech. Brittany?
On May 6th, council reestablished the zoning specialist permit technician position. We were authorized to start the internal hiring process. One individual applied. Staff recommends promoting Stephanie Bestel. Per the employee policy manual, she will be placed on step 4 of the zoning specialist permit tech wage grid, which will put her at $31.58. First, motion to approve the promotion of Stephanie Bestel to the zoning specialist permit effective May 21st, 2024 at $31.58. Second, authorize staff to start the hiring process for a part-time administrative support employee.
You 2 and 1 if you want.
I'll make that motion.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to take both of those actions. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That motion carries. Next up is to consider a joint powers agreement with Baxter on the shared environmental resource technician. Is that you, Jesse? Yep.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. So attached is the joint powers agreement that has been reviewed by both cities of Brainerd and Baxter staffs and attorneys. Both staffs are in approval of the agreements and will be presenting them to both councils. The framework of the agreement is that the position would be split equally 50-50, and that we'll just kind of track hours to try and maintain that balance of 50-50 because we both have needs of that position to maintain the stormwater requirements for our MS4 permit. What we're requesting and recommending is approval of the joint powers agreement for the position and further to authorize advertisement of the position, understanding that Baxter is they're right now planning to bring this to their first meeting in June. They have a pretty full agenda. They might be able to squeeze it into the next agenda next week, but right now their plan is the first in June. But they are supportive of the agreement. They'd like to see if we can advertise for the position and understand that we wouldn't make a hiring decision until after the agreement is executed.
I would make a motion as staff recommended.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Question. Are they gonna have an office in Baxter too? So they'll float back and forth or just one spot?
They would have an office here at City Hall. They would probably have time where they would have to go over to Baxter especially to kind of communicate with staff over there.
Okay.
They probably wouldn't have an office per se. They'd probably just have
But
kind of
that person will
shared
spend
space.
time out there a little bit.
For sure, yep.
That's fine.
Okay, and then I have a question on the financing of it. Is this paid for out of the stormwater fund?
Yes, sir. That's where we budgeted for.
Okay. And then, just one comment, it's good to get this done finally, and it's good that we're now waiting on Baxter to get this done instead of them waiting on us. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That motion carries. Next up is approve a 24 to 26 contract terms and wage resolution with IUOE Local 49.
The city has reached a tentative agreement with the Parks Division, IUOE 49, that is attached, as well as our, the resolution, the wage resolution. So the motion is to approve the attached 2024-2026 tentative agreement summary between the city and Local 49ers Parks Division. And then second, to adopt the attached resolution setting the IUOE Local number 49er Parks Division wages for 2024 through 2026.
I make that motion with the two pieces.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. I'd just like to add that this is one of the unions that was already under contract for this year, and we opened up the contract. We settled with them on the same thing we've given the other unions. And good news, the employees in this union who were on the legacy pay schedule all did opt in onto the wage grid now, so we have no legacy employees in this union. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That motion carries. Next up is authorize the sale of a Jeep that I didn't even know existed. James, tell me about it.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So the 2014 Jeep Compass used by the Community Development Department was replaced with a lease vehicle last month. Staff is seeking authorization to sell the 2014 Jeep Compass using Enterprise Fleet Services.
I so move.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Is it in good shape?
It's in fairly good shape. It's, you know, about 9 years old, but has 30-some thousand miles on it.
Oh, wow.
How much?
Public auction.
Huh?
It's going to public auction.
All right.
Give them the link. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That motion carries. Next up is consider cannabis license number and registration fees. James.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. So, as you're aware, Minnesota passed retail cannabis, I guess, statutory requirements that the state is going to begin licensing retail operations starting January 1st of 2025, 2025. So with that, the Planning Commission is going to be holding a public hearing and an ordinance for the time, place, and manner in which retail and other types of businesses can be conducted within the city of Brainerd. However, the ordinance that the Planning Commission is working on doesn't include registration fees or the number that the city wants to consider allowing in the city of Brainerd. So with that, staff is looking for direction from the P&F committee on a few items of question. So the first one is a registration fee can be applied. So we don't deal with the licensing. That's done by the state of Minnesota. There's a number of requirements that have to be met from them, but once the state does issue a license, the city is required to register these businesses. So the initial registration can be up to $500. And then I guess if you reapply for the registration, it could be up to $1,000. So the first question is, do you want to charge a registration fee and what price? The second items to consider are the number of retail businesses allowed in the city relating to cannabis. Since we have a population above 12,500, from my understanding, we'd be required to have 2 of them. The county is also considered in this as well. If the county has met their number, the city would not be required to license anymore if they put that in their ordinance. So the 3 questions to consider: registration fees, does the city want to cap it at 2 or allow as many as they want, and does the city want to continue to issue registrations after the county met its number? So with that, I can answer any questions, but looking for direction from P&F to then bring an ordinance back at the next meeting for a first reading.
Well, I'll start. I think we should charge a registration fee. I don't know what the
I agree.
correct amount is. I don't know about limiting, since we're required to 2.
Is that something we could wait and see what the county does? That might help guide us, or,
So the county's going to be required to have 6 of them, from my understanding on that part of it. So the city is required to have 2. We could put that into our ordinance, and we could have a stipulation in there, you know, if Brainerd only wants to have 2 of them, once the county has met their quota of 6, Brainerd would no longer have to issue licenses. We wouldn't have to have that in there either. We wouldn't have to have a cap of 2 in our ordinance either. So it's kind of up to city council on what they would like to see with the number of cannabis dispensaries in the city.
So, sorry, I'm just having trouble understanding. So the county has to have 6. So that includes cities within the county that have the businesses, right?
That's correct.
So Baxter could have 4, Pequot Lakes could have 1, and Emily could have 1. That's the 6, and we
And
wouldn't
now,
have to
yeah,
have
and
any?
now the state says somebody's applied for the city of Brainerd, but our ordinance says once the county's met theirs, which is 6, so say those 6 are already operating. If our ordinance says if the county meets this number, we're not going to issue one, we wouldn't have to at that point if it's in our ordinance.
And if we cap it at 2, and the county has to give 6, only 2 of those 6 could be in Brainerd.
That's correct.
So if you don't put a cap, all 6 of the counties could be in the city limits of Brainerd.
I don't want that. I don't know about you guys.
I don't either.
Do you know if the county is looking at a cap, if they're going to go with a cap of 6, or have you talked to anybody over there?
I haven't,
you?
but still that wouldn't even figure into our ordinance, whatever their cap is. We can still cap it at the 6 for the county. Whether they want to allow as many as they want. Once the county has reached their number, in our ordinance, we can say that once the county's met their required number, we can keep it at 2. So it's unrelated to if they want to allow as many as they want. If 6 are in the county, we would not have to allow any more.
But if we allow unlimited, they would only have to allow 6 in the county, but we could still have 30 in Brainerd.
Yeah, so if we had unlimited, there potentially could be 30 in Brainerd's, and then at that point, if other cities saying, you know, if the county's met their number, they can just not have any anywhere at that point.
Yeah, well, I think it'd be prudent to go slow since this is a new thing.
Could we not just do a preliminary ordinance based on this conversation, and then see and wait what the county might do, and we can always tweak it before we approve it?
So the best way, you know, if you want to start slow, you know, the recommendation
Yep.
would probably be then at that point to put in the max of 2, which we're required to do in our ordinance, and then say that Brainerd would not issue anymore if the county has met their required number. That way it's at 2, and Brainerd could always change that ordinance later to, you know, increase it if the city of Brainerd would like to. But that'd be the consideration to start a little bit slower.
Yeah, so let's do max registration fee, max 2, and none after the county has met it. Let's start with that for the ordinance, just because this is so new and we don't know how it's going to affect society.
Yep.
Well, and that's where I struggle, is that Brainerd has such a drug problem. Not that I have my own feelings about the use of marijuana, but if we have 6 businesses in Brainerd, what message is that sending to our residents in terms of trying to combat the drug issue in
I think
Brainerd,
2.
right? So, yeah, the 2 is a good idea.
I guess the last question to that, there's another part to it. If the county has met their maximum number of 6 in other cities, would the city of Brainerd want to issue any of them if we don't have any currently?
And I also want to support small businesses.
Right, that's why I don't like the limit of 2. It's like, well, we might as well let 15 or something. But we'll start with 2. I think we say if the county has met their 6, we won't
I agree.
issue any registrations
I agree.
to start with, but something we'll revisit going forward, just seeing how these businesses affect.
But we'll allow 2 if,
We'll allow the required 2.
okay.
Yeah.
Up to 2 because of population.
Yeah. So let's start with as conservative as possible and just see how it goes in the coming years.
Keep it simple.
Okay.
Yeah. Any other input?
No.
We don't need a motion.
So then would you like me to bring that as a first reading for an ordinance with that language in there? Okay.
Anything else to come before the committee today? We actually got work done today doing the
Nice.
cannabis stuff.
I feel high as a kite.
Okay, with that, we're adjourned.
Our next meeting
Our next meeting,
will be May 25th, or 29th, May 29th at 11 a.m.
May 29th at 11. We'll see you here.
Check my calendar.